safe on arrival. Pistol on J's for survival. A lot of people gunning for the title.
All right, happy Monday, everybody. It's December 5th. Welcome to a new week. It's close to 10 a.m. Where I am, and prices of Bitcoin currently at $17,100 almost. So a couple of things that have happened pretty much, most of the weekend is we kind of created this rounded bottom base, and we pushed up in the overnight session, and then we're now starting to collapse back down inside the low from last Wednesday, right? So you can see that right there. And that level just so happens to be where the weekly VWAP is for BTC as well as the daily VWAP. And we're bouncing off the monthly VWAP. So we're actually getting pinned between these two areas of key levels in terms of price action. Now, here's sort of my thought process. First things first, if you actually look at our Shepherd indicator, which is a slightly more complex formula of the RSI, you can actually see this bearish cross happening here. At the same time, we're breaking back inside this key level, right, which is 17,250 or so. And as we're making this turn right here and price is rolling over, the goal is to look at where will price stop potentially and how heavy of a sell-off is this going to create. Meaning, are sellers really getting aggressive here? And if they're getting aggressive here, are they also getting motivated to keep selling if prices break down? Because sometimes, sellers just want to defend a particular area. They'll sell price off, but then, the buyers will show up at a particular area and then they'll drive prices back up, right? So maybe buyers overpower the sellers. Maybe in this instance, it's the sellers overpowering the buyers. It remains to be seen. But personally, here's kind of what I'm thinking, okay? So the way I see the market right now is, let's turn off the pivots here. All right, we came pretty darn close to this, $17,500 level, which is the exact sort of June low back here. It doesn't really mean that we have to test it exactly. It would have been nice if we did, but the fact that we're sitting around this area tells me that we're thinking about maybe, grinding and creating a top here, right? The way I'm seeing the price action, whether it's today, tomorrow, this week, I'm thinking that we're going to create somewhat of a toppy style pattern. If it looks like that, maybe we grind up higher and then maybe we break down, right? But that's kind of what I'm thinking. And if that happens, right, what I'm thinking is we're going to create a pretty broad range in BTC. The range high could be around, like 18,000 could be the range high. And the range low is around 15,500. Maybe we dig in a little bit deeper around 15,000 flat. So we can extend it to the upside, extend it to the downside, but this largely is kind of the range that I'm thinking headed into the end of the month, which is, the US holidays, as well as the new year. Okay. That's my, sort of base case right now for markets. Now, there's a couple of different things that I'm personally doing right now, which is, first of all, on the Ethereum front, I actually want to start, being a buyer for ETH somewhere close to 1,000 and especially closer to the $800 level. From a buyer's perspective for the long term, right? This is a pretty good area to get involved in ETH, but I'm not thinking of buying for the long term. I want to still be in the mindset of trading. Meaning I want to look at the market still from the idea that this is still a rangy market, and I don't want to get involved, more than a day, more than a few days at most. If I have to get involved for, let's just say, a few weeks, again, I'm going to think in context of ranges, right? Like if I get involved, say at $1,000 down to 800, well, then it doesn't matter how long it takes, but I would want to start buying here, selling here. I would want to start selling and shorting here and covering and closing down here, right? So in the same way that I talked about BTC between the 18 and 15 range, well, maybe the range for Ethereum could be, 1,000 to 800 at support, resistance could be 16 to 1800 as resistance. Okay. So that is an area that I'm going to start getting involved for Ethereum. Solana also similar. I have a different view, which may be a little bit biased on Solana. So I talked about this, on my Twitter feed. And again, you could follow me 0xamol on Twitter if you want to. Okay. And by the way, if you like this video, make sure you hit the thumbs up. I love creating free content, but it also, makes me feel good that people are seeing my content. They see value in it. They want me to keep doing more. So yeah, hit the thumbs up, leave me a comment of your thoughts, what you think is happening in the market. So here's what I posted just yesterday, right? Here's some interesting similarities of what happened in Ethereum back in 2018 bear market, in 2019, sort of this mini counter trend bull market. See that right there, right? So let's go to that and let's do this, okay? So you can see, I already got that pulled up right there. Now I'm going to pull up the Solana USD. I think it's this one. Where did I put it? Sol USD. Maybe it's this one. Okay. Either way, point is that, if we start mapping out levels, right? Here's what I've done here. Okay. So I see a bunch of very unique similarities in terms of price action, in terms of, sentiment, and possibly even utility and usage of what happened to Ethereum in 2018 and 19 in the bear market, and what is happening with Solana in the current 2022 bearish landscape. Okay, so first, from the price action perspective, right, I see sort of a range that was carved out for ETH before it broke out, right? This is 2017 bull market. I don't know if you guys were around back then, but I remember this very, very distinctly. It was a very, unique time in my life, as well as, watching crypto really take off, because I got involved in crypto like late 2016. I didn't really know a whole lot about Ethereum or, Bitcoin in terms of how high they can go. I just knew it was like a really cool technology. It might do well, it might not sure. The point is, we've come far from that. And you could kind of see Ethereum, okay, in the same way, had this range being built out early before it broke out. Okay, it multiplied itself by like 3 or 4x right here. Same thing happened with Solana right here, built a range and then broke out, almost 4 to 5x, right? And then of course, they all return back into the bear market. It gets brutal. They all drop almost from the high down to the lows, almost 95%. Okay, from the high to the low, right? You can see 95% drawdown. Okay, so similarities in terms of bearish drawdown are clearly there. Now, again, you could make the argument that, oh, well, you can't compare Solana and Ethereum because Ethereum is, so much bigger now and it has changed the game and it brought DeFi to the world and this and that. I get it. But again, none of us really knew what Ethereum was going to do in the future until like 2020, 2021, and now 2022. In the same way, I don't know what's going to happen with Solana in the coming years. But what I do know is when a market gets sold down 95%, right? Okay, as long as the network is not dead, if developers are still building, if there's certain aspects of the ecosystem of Solana, like the DeFi part of it, like the NFT part of it, Solana's building the Solana phone, right? If those aspects are still alive, users, developers, VCs, if they're still involved, well, then there's a potential for a counter trend rally, right? So this, being similar to this, could bring us back to the range high, which is around a 250% gain from current prices, okay? So this is my sort of big bet that I have on Solana. And again, I don't know if this is going to pan out. For all I know, I'm completely wrong, and I might have to cut my losses after we put in another, 30, 40% low. right? So the risk is like, okay, you might have to trim your position another 30, 40% lower or get rid of it, but the upside is 250%. So, again, non-investment advice, something that you need to look into yourself if you like Solana, if you like this thought process that I have. All right. So anyway, now I just want to cover the stock market a little bit, just because, again, our markets are still guided very heavily by what's happening in the stock world. So there's two unique threads that I would encourage you guys to read. One is just about the bond market world. Okay. Now, again, I'm not a bond expert. I'm never going to claim that I'm going to be, right? But point is that if you actually read exactly what's happening in the bond market, the shifts that are happening internally, as well as how that can still create a ripple effect into equity markets as well as crypto, this is a very unique thread about, the risks that bond yields are posing in terms of on the economy or equity markets or crypto markets. Okay. And the second thread is just about, something that I found. And again, this is not to be like overly bearish, or I'm not a doomer or anything, because I actually think that now is a pretty damn good time to start thinking about longs, not from the perspective of starting a new bull market, but from the perspective of, okay, well, things are pretty damn oversold. It doesn't hurt to start taking a stab at longs. It doesn't hurt to start taking a stab at things that you may want to hang on to long term, or a counter trend rally trade. Like I said, right, the fact that BTC is already here, well, think of this as one big range and start trading that range. Like, that's all you have to do. You don't have to think what's going to happen 6 months from now, and if Bitcoin's going to go to 30,000 or 50 or 100K. You just got to think of where we are now, where we could be in the next few weeks in terms of a range. Same thing with Solana, same thing with Ethereum. Okay. So this is the other thread from Michael Gayad, also a really, really smart guy. I think he's a really smart guy. That's for you to judge. But again, he talks about the equity markets and how they're still posing a risk. They're still a little bit expensive from the valuation perspective. There are still external risks regarding inflation, regarding the bond market, and how those could still create a little bit more downward pressure on crypto, on US equities. Okay. So again, both these threads are actually on my Twitter feed. All right. So make sure y'all check it out. And then last but not least, right, like if we start looking at crypto market from simply total market cap perspective, right? Like, here's kind of how I look at it. So first I look at similarities of what happened back here in 2018 and 19, right? RSI, as well as this, choppy range. And then there's also similarities between, this drop that we had to the current, drop that we're facing, the drop and chop that we're facing right now. And then how does that like create a counter trend rally, and how we can benefit from it? Well, if you're thinking in context of, if this is this area right here that, broke down and collapsed, okay, well, then we should be expecting something like this, maybe not to the same degree, and maybe not all across the board in crypto. Maybe it could be a select few assets being Bitcoin, Ethereum, may not even be Solana. It could be like Atom. I've told y'all many times, I really like Atom simply because it's something new and unique. It never really got to fully take off in the bull market. If they're still building and there's still interest, who knows? Maybe it has its own time where Atom starts to take off, back towards the $30 level. That's another almost 200% move. MATIC is another one which has stayed, relatively much better in terms of price action, like from the June lows. From the June low, MATIC is still up like almost 200%, right? Versus like, say, something like Ethereum. Well, Ethereum from the June low is barely up 40%, right? So clearly, like, something is going on in MATIC. I don't know what it is, but something is, and maybe that's something that you need to pay attention to. Everything else I'm really skeptical on. I do think that there are positives about DEXs, these decentralized exchanges where you can trade simply, because the whole FTX debacle that happened. And by the way, if you want to follow up more on the FTX stuff, there's this really great Spotify episode with Frank Chaparro and SBF. It's on Spotify. Make sure y'all listen to it. The Scoop. I listened to it this morning. I'm not done with it yet, but I thought it was really, really interesting, let's just say. I'm not still convinced like Sam is fully innocent. I don't know how fully culpable he is for the crimes, but it's just overall a good episode if you're still wanting to listen to this whole FTX, saga stuff. I've kind of pretty much put it behind me and just stated that like, I think the money's gone. I don't think I'm going to ever touch it again, and that's okay. But if you want to listen more, SPF's view and Frank Chaparro kind of grilling him, I think you'll like that episode. Okay. This is another interesting thing from Token Terminal, active developer stats in Web3. This was, I think, just a few weeks back, right? So I still think this is kind of interesting. Developers are still developing on certain ecosystems. But again, we're only like about 8 or 9 months into the bear market. Let's see how this, let's see how this list does another 6 months from now or another year from now, right? Like I bet you all these numbers cut down by 50 to 90% for some of these coins, So again, you want to be paying attention to important data points and metrics like this if you want to be a buyer for the long term. I still remember back in 2018 and 19, Ethereum developers stayed very, very active, kept building, kept shipping. So you want to be paying attention to the developer metrics as definitely sort of a indicator of resilience. Okay. There's a few other articles that I really think that you guys need to watch and pay attention to. First one is all related to this OpenAI stuff. And again, you may see on your Twitter feed, I don't know how your Twitter feed is, but mine is, about all this Chat GPT, GPT-3, DALL-E, all this stuff is about this huge sort of AI, mini revolution that's happening. And again, if you're not familiar with it, OpenAI is this company that's trying to deal with, AI as a deliverance point for, changing and disrupting many, many industries. And I think if you test out some of this stuff and you watch videos and you follow some of these people, especially through Twitter, you'll realize like something big is happening here. In the same way something big was happening in crypto the last few years, something big is happening in AI. And this AI could ultimately, in some way connect with crypto, right? Maybe those roads cross at some point. But for now, I encourage you guys to look into this stuff, experiment, because you can for free. You can test out, what DALL-E is. You can test out Chat GPT, GPT-3, or GPT-2, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. And it's something really, really amazing. So, make sure y'all check out this article. I'll be posting this article in my official announcements right here. So again, if you're not part of our community, one reason you should just be part of our community is because we post, really, really great resources. We discuss a lot about things and topics that usually like most communities don't really talk about. And we talk about a lot of price action. We talk about, both the, sort of duality of bull and bear markets, the good and the bad of it. And of course, opportunities, right? What kind of opportunities are being set up for us for the future? Okay, so all that, in our crypto community, the Discord link is below. Y'all could join. I encourage y'all to come hang out, do some research with us, okay? Until then, I wish you guys good luck. And make sure you follow sort of the ranges that I mapped out. If you have any questions, you can tag me on Twitter or join our Discord, okay? All right, everybody. Good luck. Take care, and we'll chat soon.